Hello everyone, my name is Tony Tellers. I am with the Bowermaster & Associates Insurance Brokerage in California. We are going to be talking today about the reporting of a workers' compensation claim. Workers' compensation is one of the coverages that Bowermaster handles for Tang and Company and the many entities underneath Tang and Company, such as Care on Site, ASAP Drug Solutions, Occupational Safety Council of America, and many other policies as well. Workers' compensation coverage is a required coverage in every state. So that means that an employer will pay a cost each year to provide workers' compensation coverage for their employees. Workers' compensation is a very, very broad type of medical plan. It pays for not only the medical bills of an injured worker, but it also pays for any physical therapy that an injured worker might need. It pays for any doctor visits or medical tests that need to be done. And it also includes loss of income, loss of pay for an injured employee while they are recovering. These are the topics that we will be talking about today. Again, very much focused on the reporting of a workers' compensation injury, a occupational injury. The slide in front of you now is the declarations page of a workers' compensation policy. Care on Site, Tang and Company have two workers' compensation policies. One of them is for the state of California, and the other is for all of the other states in which we operate. You will see in the top right-hand corner a policy number, which is important and will be needed for any work-related injury. You will see item 3A toward the bottom of this declarations page, which shows that this particular policy is for the state of California. The next page, you will see the declarations page of the policy with a different policy number. And item 3A, as circled down below, is for the other states in which Care on Site operates. The insurance coverage is provided by the CNA group of insurance companies. This company has been around for 100 years, and the CNA used to actually refer to actual words, but no longer. It is just a logo now, and CNA has many subsidiary insurance companies through which they write coverage, and the American Casualty Company of Reading, Pennsylvania is providing the workers' compensation coverage for Care on Site. The next slide talks about some important numbers that you will have to know when reporting a workers' compensation injury. The first number, of course, is directly to the claims reporting department of the CNA group of insurance companies. You will see the phone number of my brokerage. You will see my personal cell phone, which you are welcome to call if you have a question. And the policy number is the California policy number on this particular page. Most clients now do report claims by email, and the email address to report a claim is shown. The next page is referring to medical provider networks. It's important as a first step in preparing for the eventuality of a work-related injury to go to this particular website and find a medical provider that is near your location. So you want to go to the CNA.com website and begin to search for the medical provider networks. To start off, you would click on Services, and then scroll down the page to find workers' compensation medical provider networks, and click on that, then click on Find a Network Provider. When I am doing this, I have the best luck when I use the address search. So I will choose that. I will enter the Care On-Site location and then click on Continue. And I have the best luck when I'm looking for a provider type that is a first treatment site. And the first treatment site that I go to most often is the occupational medical clinic, occupational medicine clinic, and or an urgent care facility. Click on Find Providers, and that will bring up for you a list of medical facilities that are near your particular location. Whether you are in California or you are in Texas or you are in Alabama, you will be able to find a CNA medical provider that they would recommend that you go to. It's important to remember here that an injured employee cannot use his own personal physician to provide his occupational injury treatment. This is especially true in California, with most of our employees at Care On-Site in California, and most of our physical facilities are in California. It's important to remember that you as the employer have control over where that employee receives treatment for an occupational injury. The next two slides actually show the various states in which Care On-Site has locations and how the state requires an injured worker to be treated. As you can see, the first state, California, says all injured workers must be treated within the medical provider network. And many of the other states, as you go through this, say the same thing. There are several states where the employee can go outside of the medical provider network, but typically we want to keep that injured employee working within the medical provider, getting treatment within the medical provider network. An important item to remember at this point is that there are 4 states in which a private insurance company is not allowed to write workers' compensation coverage. These 4 states are called monopolistic states. There are 4 of them: Ohio, North Dakota, Washington, and Wyoming. At this point in time, it looks like we only have a Care On-Site location in 2 of those monopolistic states, but be assured that Care On-Site has purchased workers' compensation coverage as required directly from the state itself. Let's talk about managing a work-related injury. Of course, the first thing you do if there is an injury and it's a serious injury, we want to call 911. A serious injury is defined typically as one where there is a loss of limb or where the injured employee must spend 24 hours or more hospitalized. Other than a serious injury, you can send the injured employee to a facility within the medical provider network, which you have previously determined. And at the appropriate time, you want to gather facts from the employee about the date and time and place of the accident. You will already have the employee's name and the social security number. But this page and the next page gives you some suggested questions to ask. You, as the employer, have a duty to investigate any work-related injury. So you want to really determine the cause of the accident, document the cause of the accident, and these questions can help you do so. There's several forms that we must give to the employee before sending the employee to the doctor. Sometimes if the employee cannot drive himself to the doctor, then we want to give these forms to the person who is taking or providing transportation to the doctor. to give to the facility. There is a medical clinic authorization form, which, in fact, all of these forms will be toward the back of this presentation. But this lets the medical clinic know that this is a work-related injury and that the medical bills should be sent to and will be paid by the insurance carrier. There's also an authorization for release of records form. We want the employee to complete this, or the person representing the employee, and give this to the facility so that there is an authorization on file when the insurance company requests copies of the invoices or information about the treatment. In California, there is a specific form called the DWC-1 form. The employee must complete their portion of the form and return it to the employer. The employer then must complete their portion of the form, send a copy to CNA, and keep one copy in the file. And that is further emphasized down below with the obtain and retain. When reporting a workers' compensation injury, or when an injury occurs, as we previously discussed, if it's a serious claim, pardon me, we must notify the local office of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. In California, we have these enforcement offices up and down the state, so if there is a fatality or a serious claim, we must also notify the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. You then want to report the claim to the CNA group, again by telephone or by email. You want to use the attached 5020 form as part of your claim reporting. This form is very handy because it asks a number of the questions that are going to be needed by the insurance company, and it's good to complete this form prior to reporting the claim. It'll make the claim phone call a lot shorter and a lot more complete. When the carrier receives the 5020 form or your claim report, they will give you a claim number, and they will also assign the claim to a claims examiner who will contact both you and the injured employee. Let's talk a little bit about handling this workers' compensation claim. Sometimes there actually is not an injury, but there's a near miss, or there is an employee behavior that appears to be out of the ordinary or maybe unsafe that either a fellow employee observes or you yourself as a manager might observe that. Let's use that particular near miss as a learning opportunity to maybe change employee behavior around the office or around the workplace, or possibly remove a hazard in the workplace that could possibly cause an injury in the future. Let's see if we can also institute a return to work program. We like to treat workers' compensation claims similar to the treatment of a sports injury. If an important team member is injured while on the field or on the court or on the track, we want to get appropriate medical attention as quickly as possible, and also return that valuable team member to work as quickly as possible. It's important to remember that you as the employer or as the manager have a duty to investigate every injury and to maintain the health and safety of others and the employee in question. So it's important to take that seriously. I know Care on Site takes this very seriously, and this is actually proven by the fact that Care on Site has very, very few work-related injuries. So all of you are doing a terrific job of maintaining a safe workplace. And again, we want to emphasize that If the employee wishes to see his own doctor in California, he cannot do so. He must get his work-related injury treatment directly from a facility within the medical provider network. The last few slides, you will see copies of the previously discussed forms. Here you will see the 50/20 form, and it's down at the very bottom left-hand corner in the smallest print possible. But you're welcome to take copies of this at any time and use this as a basis to gather information for the reporting of a claim. Here is the DWC-1 form required specifically in California. You must give it to the employee who completes the top section, returns it to you, and the employer, you complete the bottom section, take a copy, put it in your file, and give a copy to the claims examiner at the CNA insurance company. The next form is the authorization to treat form, which we want the injured employee to give to the doctor, and you will see there the address and contact information for the facility to send their medical bills directly to CNA. These are not paid by the employer. These are not paid by the injured employee. The medical bills are paid for by the workers' compensation insurance company. Yes. And here's the authorization for release of records form, which the employee should sign and give to the facility so that the facility has their permission to provide the invoices and any medical treatment records directly to the insurance carrier. And that is the end of our slideshow. I want to thank Dr. Helen, Alexis Morales, and Bing Cruz for allowing us to present this to you. Hopefully you find it helpful. With any questions you might have, you're welcome to contact me. Thank you.